Sweet. Okay, now it's recording. Thank you for your patience. So interpretation, it is essentially any of the signage that you see. It's drop-in activities. It's a large umbrella of things, since it's the tour guide program. If you all remember pre-COVID when that was a thing, we are bringing that back in a slightly different capacity, and I'll talk about that. So the first thing here is Discovery Booths. This is a little bit of a new program. It's similar to the Plant Maker Studio, but it's actually going to be out in the main gardens outside, and it is a booth that people can approach, similar like the ones in this room. And there will be activities for people of all ages that they can come interact. And as a volunteer, you'll be at those booths helping facilitate those activities. They're about 5 to 15 minutes long as an activity, but people might stay longer or, just kind of pass by. And as a volunteer, you're there to interact with the public and teach them the activity, teach them a little bit more about maybe the concepts that the activity is about. So that's the duties. The training, there is a training next Wednesday from 4 to 6:30 in the Macmillan Auditorium if you're interested. That is for all of the interpretation opportunities that I'll be talking about. So if you are interested in interpretation at the Arboretum, come to that, sign up on My Impact. I think it's under guest services, if I remember correctly. And Claudia's nodding at me so that I got it right. So yeah, there's that. There's also trainings for monthly expert talks, and that's just to give you a little bit more information and background about the subjects of the activities. So like the first one will be all about nature journaling and nature with the senses, and that expert talk will be April 26th at 11 a.m. That's full Zoom, so you don't have to go anywhere. You can just log in. And then, so the Discovery booths are both on-site and off-site. The on-site ones are Thursdays and Sundays, and then in May we'll actually have them on Friday as well for the tulips. That's a specific tulip Discovery booth. So if you're interested in that, there's that opportunity as well. And then there's also off-site opportunities. It'll be most likely a Saturday or Sunday once a month, depending on the events, and that's to kind of partner with other places, do a little bit of outreach of the Arboretum to other places. For example, in April, we are partnering with the Bell Museum and doing one of their Spotlight Sciences. So that is a booth that we're going to be doing all about prairie plants and pollinators. And we'll have some activities for that, one of which is on the tables over there. If you're interested in that, you can sign up again on My Impact. So those are just some different opportunities and duties for the Discovery booth. Are there any questions about what that is? Let's see if there's anybody on Zoom as well. Okay. So the next one is ambassadors. That is a partnership with the guest services. Charlene Wickenhauser, if anybody has been an ambassador before, it was through Charlene, so now we're also kind of combining forces. And that is a training that is also next Wednesday from 4 to 6:30. And essentially you will be walking around, being a friendly face to the visitors. You help them with navigation, give them ideas of certain events or interesting things that might be good for them as visitors. Maybe they have kids, so you direct them to the Green Play Yard, whatever, that type of thing. So that's what an ambassador does. You pick a certain zone, and I have a zone map at the back of the room if you all are interested. And you walk that zone for your shift and make sure everybody's safe and having a good time. And yeah, the orientation, April 17th. And then there's also some online training modules to give you some more background about the Arboretum. And those shifts are every day from 9 to 12 and then 12 to 3. So you can sign up for Mondays or Thursdays or Sundays, whichever really works for your schedule. And it doesn't necessarily have to be consistent. If you can do Tuesday one day and then the next week you can do a Wednesday, like all that, awesome. That's the ambassadors. And then last for interpretation are the different guides. We're calling them plant walks, but There's also farm guides as well, so just put it all underneath the idea of guides. And this is the opportunity that I talked about that is started before COVID, and then we paused it for a long time, and now we're bringing it back again, which is exciting. And again, this has a slightly different training. If you are interested, come to next Wednesday, but then you'll also have additional trainings of having shadowing, and preferably you'd be an ambassador so you kind of know the lay of the land and know some kind of deeper information. And then this is kind of like the next level. And those shifts currently are Mondays and Fridays at 11. They're just 30-minute plant walks for the plant walk guides. I'll talk about the farm guides in a moment. And let's see. There may be more tours if we get lots of volunteers excited about it. We could expand it to other days of the week, which would be awesome. And yeah, you get to share facts with visitors in sort of a more guided tour format. Same with the farm guides. That is guides that are specifically at the farm, and they talk about the foodscape and the crop plots. And most of them are during the summer at the farm days, the summer fun at the farm days, which Carrie will be talking about a little bit. And that's Saturdays from July 13th all the way through September 7th. The training for that is different than the plant walks. It's just kind of, it's a little bit more informal, and preferably you'd have a little bit of gardening and agricultural experience. So, are there any questions at all about the interpretation opportunities? Yes, yeah. The question for the people on Zoom was that all three of them have the same training, and yes, they all have the same training next Wednesday, 4 to 6:30. If you can't make it, that will be recorded, and so hopefully we'll be able to send that out, and then we can also meet individually if you can't make that, but preferably you be there because there's some big things covered there. Any other questions? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, then we'll continue to adult education. And Derek will come up here.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Hey, you're talking now. There we go. Everybody's sitting toward the back of the room, so I can see most of you. Good morning, everybody on Zoom as well. My name is Derek Carwood, and I am the Adult Education Manager here at the Arboretum. New to the position, just started October 31st, so if I haven't seen you around or haven't had a chance to talk to you, please do come up to me as well. I promise I won't bite or scream or yell or anything like that. So I love chatting with new people. Also, I love hearing about stuff that has been done at the Arboretum in the past. So if you've been a volunteer for a long time, or at least longer than October 31st of last year, I would love to hear what your experiences have been. What have you done? Are there classes that we haven't had in the past that you would love to see again? Are there things that you would like to see changed with our volunteering with adult education, right? So lots that I can learn from you all right? What I'm going to be talking about today is 3 of our different programs that we have under adult education. The first, and I put this one up first because it is by far the most popular right now, and everybody wants to get in on the action. So, and rightfully so. It's really, really cool, a lot of fun. So the culinary arts, specifically with Chef Beth right now. We've got a lot going on with the culinary arts right now and developing classes. If you go online and you look, there is literally just one, but there is a whole bunch of those that are going to be coming out within the next few weeks to a month or so. So we're really trying to gear them up and get going, and we are going to need volunteers. And one of the cool things about the culinary arts is that we need lots of volunteers. So Beth started out with just having a couple of volunteers coming in and helping out. And then we realized, okay, we need more than that. So we went up to 4, and I think we're going to go up to 6 per class. So what that entails is lots of volunteers who are interested in doing things, and folks that are there and willing to take direction from Chef Beth during those classes. So a little bit about them. So the duties are to assist Chef Beth. That's also, we are going to have other chefs, by the way. We have guest chefs, and we have other folks that are going to come in and facilitate the class as a kind of a secondary chef, a sous chef. The foods preparing foods prior to the classes, this is really important, and we do need lots of help with this. So before most of the classes that Chef Beth has, there's a lot of prep before, right? Just like you all know, or most of you probably know, when you're preparing a meal, you got to get all the stuff chopped up and you got to get things prepared. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, or a lot of time and, preparing and going and buying the foods and yada, yada, right? So that's a big part of it. So when you sign up for one of the culinary classes, just know that there's going to be the opportunity before the class, usually the day before, to keep things fresh, to go in and work with Chef Beth or whomever else to get things prepared. And then there's the day of the class. Okay, so there's going to be 2 opportunities there. During the classes, help the chefs serve and clear tables. So during the class, what the chefs need is help with getting everything organized, making sure that people have their water or their drinks, making sure that plates are cleared, that sort of thing, right? I do need to specifically say that this isn't something that we're looking for volunteers to necessarily come in and impart their wisdom. I know you have it, but impart their wisdom on the folks at the class that day, right? This, especially with the chefs, going fast and going with everything, they really need to be the kind of the center of attention, right? So although we do really appreciate the wisdom that you can impart on everybody, it's really about kind of being, behind the scenes a little bit more, okay? The other thing is assisting cleaning up after the event, okay? So after we've prepared the foods, we've had the classes, then comes the fun of cleaning up, right? We do have some industrial strength dishwashers that I really want to get for my own house because they're like normal dishwasher size, but they clean in like 30 seconds. Fantastic. So you can kind of play with those. And then just get things put away. It usually doesn't take any longer than an hour. If that, usually it's, 30, 40 minutes or so. And then you get to leave. There's also oftentimes food that's left over. So you're able to take food home sometimes or eat it right there. So kind of some opportunities. The training. So we are going to start doing training for these classes. Okay. Has anybody volunteered for the classes thus far? We've had 4, it looks like. Cool. So we are going to start doing training for the culinary art classes. All right. And what that's going to entail is about a half hour to an hour worth of discussing what's expected of a volunteer, when you should be there, the different tools and things that you're going to be using, all of that stuff, proper etiquette. If you're sick, it's okay to call in, right? If you have a coughing fit, it's cool to leave the room. Right? Those are the sorts of things that we're gonna chat about. Let's see. The other thing is you must be ServSafe certified. So if you're interested in doing this, we do need to get you ServSafe certified. It's a very easy process, not a big deal. It's just something you have to do ahead of time. And that's just so that we know that you are clear to work with food, okay? And then the shifts, sign up as they come along. So they are, again, there's not anything out there except for the, what is it May or April? We have a class on the 20th. And I believe we already have volunteers for it. We may open it up again to have a couple more volunteers. I think it's capped at 4 right now, but we'll extend that out. But the shifts as they come along will pop up, okay? All right, jumping to horticulture. So with the hort classes, there are going to be lots of opportunities to volunteer. However, we've kind of shifted things away from just having the instructor and a volunteer, and we now are having facilitators that are going to be there during the classes. So the volunteers for these classes are going to be there to really help guide people when we have classes where we're going to be preparing terrariums, or we're going to be doing clippings, or we're going to be out on trails and we're going to be walking around and help guide people around the arboretum, right? So there's going to be lots of opportunities for this. They're just going to be a little bit different from how they've been in the past. Who here has volunteered with Hort before? Hort classes, not Hort as in like the Hort department. We got one back there? It's okay, you can raise your hand all the way up. There you go. Cool. So yeah, that means there's lots of opportunity for you all to volunteer specifically with me because I'm going to be teaching a lot of these classes as well. Okay? So you're going to be assisting the instructors with handouts, materials, and evaluations. That's another thing I forgot to mention with the first one. We're also doing evaluation forms after the class. Welcome. After the classes are done. Okay. And the evaluation form, as it is right now, is basically just a half sheet of paper. It has 3 questions and a few lines for commentary below. And we just need somebody to help to pass those out and then bring them back in at the end. Okay. So those are all really awesome opportunities for a volunteer because, again, the instructors are going to be kind of going like crazy and doing their thing. The facilitator is probably going to be doing similar things. And we need somebody like a volunteer to kind of be like, I got this. I can help you out. Okay. Let's see. Shifts, again, it's going to kind of be all over the place. Typically, with most of the adult classes, we're going to have some classes on the weekdays, and we're also going to have some on the weekends, specifically on Saturdays. All right. The reason we do that is because there's some folks that want to do weekdays, and there's some folks who can only do on the weekends. So we try to have the opportunity for people to do it on either side. So you all as volunteers, please be aware that we do need people for both of those. That's for all of our classes, right? Any questions about either culinary or hort so far? Yes, ma'am. That is a great question. Yes. So all of the culinary classes are going to be at the kitchen, at the farm. Okay. There may be times that we have something somewhere else for just a quick moment, but everything is going to be in the kitchen for the most part. So when you're signing up, just know you are going to be at the farm. Everybody's been to the farm? Yeah, everybody's shaking their heads. So that's where we're kind of shifting things. So it used to be over at the Learning Center. Youth Ed has now taken over that entirely. And so Adult Ed has kind of shifted that direction. All righty. Any other questions? Cool. All right, so art and literature. This is another one where we need lots of volunteers, right? Especially if it is something that is going to require, like water paint or watercolors, right? Paints and things that are messy, things that are going to require cleanup after the fact. It is really, really helpful when we've got volunteers who are there to be like, I got this, instructor, I can help you out. Because at the end of a class, the instructor is usually trying to talk to people, trying to kind of gather their things up. So it's really nice to have the volunteers there to help pick up, right, and clean things up. We also have the evaluation forms, and of course, somebody there to help greet as folks come in, help get people seated if necessary, and all of those, kind of ins and outs. All right. What else? No training necessarily. If there is something that you're particularly good at, you're really good at watercolors, for example, right? It may be a good opportunity to sign up for watercolors because then you can help people with, with what they're working on, right? I do have to say though, again, you got to respect the instructor that is teaching, and you don't want to kind of take over, but you can definitely help out. Right. So if you have a background in any one of the arts and whichever medium that you use, definitely try those out. But also really good opportunity to try out, some mediums and things that you've not used in the past. And it's just kind of fun to sit in and watch. I've been sitting in a lot of the classes, obviously, and kind of facilitating. And it's amazing how much I've learned. And I haven't done arts in years, and so I'm sitting in there like watching watercolors, and I was like, well, that was amazing. You didn't know you could do that. So lots of really cool opportunities just to sit and to watch and to listen and to learn something new. Any questions about adult ed? Yes, ma'am. That's another great question. So they're going to be kind of all over the place with the arts. So we do like to have them here in Snyder. It's often easier for people to get here and to get into the Arboretum and just come here to Snyder or to Oswald. So some of them are going to be here in the auditorium. Some are going to be in Azalea or the learning classroom. And then some of them will be also out at the McVeigh lab. For sure. Yeah, it'll say where the location is so that you know. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You're not always going to be reaching out to me, by the way. We have one facilitator who is currently up and running and learning learning the ropes, and we are in the process of hiring another one. So they are going to be sending out reminder emails to folks, and those reminder emails are going to ask for the people who are attending the classes to reach out to that person, and you're going to be reaching out to that person as well. So whomever that facilitator is, the one that is currently up and running, her name is Anissa. Fantastic person to work with, super, super kind. And so if you have questions, you can reach out to her if it's one of her classes. You can reach out to me if it's one of my classes, or the new person when they get on board, and I can share their name at a later date. All right. Any other questions? Everybody's eager, right? We need your help. All right. Yes. I actually don't know the answer. Does anybody? Yeah, the ServSafe. Yeah. And once a year. Yep.
But I'm sure that maybe in the month of the opening, so you're ready to I'm gonna be interested in when feel free to-
So just to repeat that for people on Zoom, there will be openings in the future. There aren't any currently for ServSafe. All right. Great questions. Appreciate it. All right. Moving on. It's not wanting to work. No, not just me. What if we try this? Which, oh, there we go. There we go. Summer fun at the farm. All right. Carrie? Of course.
Was that a painting of a dog?
Yeah, so that's a class that's coming up, and it's Paint Your Pet. So if you haven't seen it, it's really cool. And there's still openings for it.
Very cool. Well, I'm Carrie Stowers, and I have the privilege of being the Ag Relations Manager at the farm. And my work really revolves around engagement with our visitors who may be not familiar with how a farm works. So we're really thrilled with the opportunity to be able to start a new series this summer called Summer Fun at the Farm. Very straightforward, very Minnesotan. We were going to call it just Farm Days, Summer at the Farm, but someone heard that and said, my memories growing up on the farm, summer wasn't always fun. Lots of rocks and mosquitoes. And so we do want to add fun to it. And really, all of that comes from the lovely volunteers who've already been up there last summer. We started this kind of a pilot program. We had several farm days last summer. And I just want to shout out to Harold and Mary and Lauren and everyone, Amy, everybody who was there last year. Thank you, because your work helped plant seeds for this summer. And that's kind of the way that the farm has grown, right? Every season it gets a little bit more mature, a little bit stronger, but it really is a team effort. And our visitors are hungry for this information. They want to learn about where their food comes from. So these days have been built around the expertise from you volunteers last summer and your real suggestions and recommendations of how we do that. So we're really learning and growing it this summer and looking for that information still. So specifically, we've expanded the program, and every Saturday, starting July 13th, through September 7th, we'll be having a farm day at the farm, which is a smaller scale event than Field Fest. If you've been to the Harvest Festival in September, that's a party. That's the one with the beer garden. And families come and pull a sugar beet, if you remember. We thought we had so much success with that one moment where people were in the soil and they were using a shovel, and whether they were 3 years old or 90 years old, they enjoyed that experience. So we wanted to replicate that in this new model of Summer Fun at the Farm. Every Saturday from July 13th through August 31st, there'll be a different harvest. Thanks to Tim Wilson and his team and Bob Dressen and his team, we're going to be trying some, it's really a big experiment, but we're going to try a new method where people will start in the crop plots or in the market garden and pull a specific, in the case of July 13th, garlic. They'll be pulling a head of garlic. And then they'll take that garlic and go into the kitchen with Chef Beth and watch her prepare different ways how to use garlic, or how to preserve garlic, how to dry garlic, all of the things that we kind of take for granted sometimes. But our non-farming public, our members and guests, don't know this information. And so we thought we would spread it out across July and August with these days. And like I said, it is an experiment, and each day has its own kind of spirit and theme and scope. And like I said, it's not the big festival where food trucks and people running around with sugar beets, but hopefully they'll be running around with garlic in their purse, or, you know, kids with garlic in their pocket, and take those memories home about what it is like to be on a farm. And I'm going to try to move forward, but I will fail. There we go. So this is the themes of each of the dates. And what's fun about it is these are all things that we have connections to with our own families and our own kitchens, right? So garlic harvest is July 13th. Wendy Compasto wins the prize for coming up with Pickling Day, because we all love canning. I canned with my grandmother growing up, and going into her root cellar. And those memories, I want to pass on to my family. And I know that our members and visitors are in that same place, and they just don't maybe know how to do it. So we're going to be pickling maybe some baby cukes or something that day. And then we're very excited about a brand new harvest, which is on July 27th. We'll be partnering with R.D. Offutt, which is a really great Minnesota potato company from up in Park Rapids, who will be helping us plant these in a few weeks. And on July 27th, we'll be doing a potato dig. And the reason R.D. Offutt, I mean, they do a ton of things in the community and philanthropy, but they are really well known for opening up fields and having the public go and do their own potato digs. So they're the best in the biz. They know what they're doing, and we're going to be working really closely with them on those days. Really excited for August 3rd. Laura, you'll be talking about the honey harvest and flowers for pollinators, where people will pick wildflowers, which is bee food, right? And take those home. And sunflowers are always popular up there. And August 17th, very, very excited about showcasing our Kernza plot, bringing in some experts to talk about what Kernza is. And if you want to taste it, I brought some Kernza naan, which is from a lovely bakery in St. Cloud. It's a very kind of hard thing to find. It's only at Lake Winds, and they make Kernza naan. And it's called Artisan's Bakery, and we'll be showcasing that type of thing where you can buy Kernza flour, you can cook with it. But why? Why is Kernza, important? And that's what we'll be talking about that day. We'll be doing another soybean harvest, and then August 31st, a corn harvest. And then on Field Fest, we will be doing 3 harvests this year. We'll be doing sugar beet, potato, and corn, sponsored by the Minnesota Corn Growers Association. So a lot going on up at the farm, and just so appreciate your investment in the Arboretum. Without you, we aren't the Arboretum. We're just another garden. So very, very grateful for your expertise, for your time, and sharing all you have to offer with our guests and members. So don't think I have anything else. So fast. September 7th, please mark your calendar. We have various opportunities to volunteer, but as I mentioned, we are expanding our harvests. So we will have our sugar beet harvest, but we also will be doing a potato dig, and then we'll also be doing a really fun corn harvest sponsored by the Minnesota Corn Growers, where our guests will watch a sustainability video produced by the corn growers in the Learning Lab of the Bee Center. And then they'll follow that path to the corn plot, and meet with our lovely volunteers and farm guides in the corn plot and talk and ask questions and connect over corn there. We'll also be having ice cream provided by the corn growers, U of M Minnesota corn ice cream. You guys are the first to hear this, so spread the word. And then I'm just thrilled to be able to do all of these new opportunities, but again, we can't do it without your help. The one thing that I do want to say about the harvest is thanks to Mikhail, one new thing we're trying to grow is the opportunity to connect our volunteers and farm guides with young people. And I don't know if you've been to past events, you've seen kids in the crop plots with shovels and helping our guests and visitors. Most of those are my kids and my nieces and nephews. And every year they say, can we come back? And we just think this is an opportunity to connect young people with agriculture and let them know even though they may grow up in Minnetonka, there's no reason they can't go work at Cargill or, advance engineering somewhere in Kernza. So there is opportunity there to be had to make those connections with young people. So CITs who are already part of the youth ed program, volunteering all around the whole Arboretum, will have the opportunity to be in the harvests this summer. So we're really looking forward to that. And if you have questions, I'll be over there with some cheese and Kernza naan.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tim Wilson. I work at the Farm at the Arb. I run the Farm at the Arb Apprenticeship Program, which is a 9-month beginning farmer training program. It works with folks that are ready to take a dive into growing food professionally, and many are educators. Others are looking to start actually a new farm business, which is very exciting. We have opened up just briefly. I don't know if anyone participated in the bean harvest last year. Nope. Okay. So we are kind of doing something and thinking about volunteers. Has anyone planted tulips with the Arb or grape pruning? So this is more of those lines that we're thinking about getting some work done. The hours for crop harvest are from when you can't see in the morning until you can't see at night. So it's a full day. It's a 14-hour day. But no, that's so part of what the work of the apprentices is growing food and then marketing it. Our main market right now is a contract with the USDA for a VeggieRx program. And so the produce that's grown at the Farm at the Arb goes to 2 public health clinics that are in Shakopee and Chaska and are given to people for free. And they are working with their healthcare provider on a specific diet-related disease or food insecurity issue. And so the food that we're growing is meeting the people that need it the most, as well as nutrition classes. And we have these events in Shakopee and Chaska. And so part of the crop harvest opportunity that I'm describing is really, it's not meant to get every last pea in the ground. It's more of just an opportunity to learn a little bit more about crop harvest. Anything that we get out of the ground is great. It's an opportunity to learn from the apprentices who are learning as well too. And then any food that we harvest goes to this program. So yeah, it's generally more of a horticultural event. It's not a visitor engagement event. I would say it's more fun than the summer at the Fun at the Farm, but I would be the only one who says that. So, but yeah, it's a great opportunity, and we pick days that are in line with harvest, but also conducive to being out there and doing the work. And then of course, yeah, we come up with a lot of food and share it amongst ourselves, as well as bring it to the VeggieRx program. So any questions I can answer about that? Yeah. But yeah, I'll be here as well too if you have any questions. So. Advance, so we know. Yep.
All right. Hello again. I know you're hearing a lot of hellos today. Recognize some of you, but a lot of new faces. It's lovely to see you all. My name is Mikhail. I'm one of the youth education program coordinators here, based out at the Learning Center. So just going to provide a quick overview of our youth education programs. really just going to focus on our programs that are volunteer supported, which is the majority of them, over at the Learning Center. Can I just get a quick show of hands who's worked with our Youth Education Center in the past, or Learning Center? Okay, amazing. Quite a few of you. Lovely. So just a quick overview of youth education. We're tucked back over by the picnic shelter, over by the Big Oak playground in the children's garden, the children's play yard. That part is open to the public, but then in the Learning Center, we have learning happening all year long, school programs, summer programs, and so many of our programs could not run without our volunteers. Last school year alone, we were able to reach over 28,000 students, which we are pretty proud of. Our goal is to connect students to plants and planet through hands-on science education during our field trip season and our summer season, in which we were able to connect with over 1,000 kiddos in the summer alone. So I thought I'd jump into those programs in which you can help us get to those numbers and put on some hands-on science exploration. Our most robust programming is definitely our field trips. We offer 9 different field trip themes throughout the school year, ranging for kindergarten all the way through 6th grade. I have all of our themes listed up here and the time of year that they run. You might notice there is overlap. We try to cram as many themes in the year as we can, and hopefully all of our, not hopefully, we are aligning all of our field trips with the next generation science standards that are coming to life in Minnesota schools coming up here. So we have our apple harvest program in which kids learn about fruit breeding, pollination. We have It's a Pumpkin's Life, where we focus on life cycles, plant parts. We have a little snacktivity over there as an example. Later on, if you get a chance, you can eat like one of our students and sort through seeds, flowers, fruits. I'm sure you'll be better at knowing which is which than a first grader. I have faith in you. We also have Fall in the Forest for our fall lineup. That's one of our more outdoor-based programs where kiddos come out, get to hike through the woods, learn about the science behind photosynthesis and decomposition within our forests. And then we also have, switching to our next season, our winter-based field trips, starting off with Green Grocery. This one is so adorable. Kids get to come out and they get to go grocery shopping in our greenhouse, connect the foods that turn, or the plants that turn into the foods that they find in their own homes. We also have our plants in their habitats. So many of our field trips focus on plant adaptations and how those diverse adaptations allow plants to thrive in varying habitats. That's an older crowd, so 2nd through 3rd grade for those. But we also have Sprout for our littles. That is one that was new this year, where it's really all about life cycles, where you get to act out the life cycle with some kindergartners and turn into a flower if that is your thing. We also have Maple Forest Trail. Did anyone see the kids running around out in the maple, the sugar bush this fall? Yeah, we had over 1,000 kids signed up for that field trip alone this year. Maple is very popular. They get to come out, see the cooking process, learn how sap is created during the summer. They get to taste the sap versus syrup and learn about the historical and cultural significance of those practices as well. That one's quick. That is to say 2-week. You're trying to fit it in during that maple season. That's probably one of our more popular field trips. And then our last two, our spring setup here is coming up right now. That is what we are getting ready for as we speak in the Learning Center, and that is Ready, Set, Grow and pollination investigation. Ready, Set, Grow. Hopefully this doesn't scare you away, but you get to help some students release ladybugs into our greenhouse and learn all about the plant superheroes that protect our greenhouse from those little pests. Some kids will cry if you give them a ladybug, learn that the hard way, but hopefully you can help us hand those out in a safe, unscary way and help our students become greenhouse superheroes in that program. Pollination investigation, brand new field trip we're bringing to the table this year, where students are getting to explore pollinators' adaptations and how those link pretty directly to the specific adaptations found within flowers and how they're kind of made for one another in that process through some hands-on education. I know I just threw so many themes out at you, but the beauty of our field trips is that whatever you're interested in, we would love people who have that passion in these themes to come out. Kids, it's contagious, passion and excitement. So we're looking for people to come out and really share that excitement with our students. 2 out of 3 exploration stations are run by volunteers at our field trip. So one staff member leads one exploration station, and then the other 2 are led by volunteers. So the majority of our field trip day is, you all should really be the bosses when you're there, because you outnumber the staff at our field trips by far. Before I move on to our next set of programming, any questions about our field trips specifically? Okay. All right. If that age range isn't your favorite thing, we have other options. We have our Peapods program. That is for ages 3 to 5, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Sue. 3 to 5, so that younger generation. And this happens throughout the year as well. We have a summer session and a fall session, as well as, this is newer this year, some of you have been there already. We have like once a month a big festival where families can come out and celebrate different themes. So weekly themes, there's a Thursday and a Friday option in our summer session, and then only on Tuesdays in the fall, and every week it is a different theme. It's more open house style, where they flow through story time, music, exploration, art, and again, volunteers are helping us lead those stations of kids kind of filtering through a lot of garden-based education in the summer for them, getting into that children's garden. That's what it's meant for. They're supposed to get their hands dirty, help us harvest, help us plant. And then we also have, I already talked about our monthly themes. Perfect. So keep your eyes out if you're only able to do once a month. Melinda Hoker is our lead for Peapods, and she would love some helping hands with that younger age group and making that a magical experience. We have another kind of pre-K or early childhood opportunity called Green Bean Family Garden Time. I know that's a bit of a mouthful. This one's really great because we invite entire families ages 5 through 11 to come out and really experience our children's garden together. So that is on Saturday mornings. And again, open house style, where families are wandering through and we have hands-on exploration stations for them to really dig into the children's garden and experience planting and harvesting, cooking for themselves. So those are our 2 early childhood opportunities. If being in a room with 20 very loud, chaotic kids covered in paint is not your thing, we have other ways for you to help support youth education. We also have field trips in a box. These are our programs that go out across the country. So the schools that can't come to us, we want to make sure that our science curriculum is available to schools across the country. So they can sign up, order a box, which is filled with enough teaching materials and a teaching curriculum to cover a class of 30 kids, as well as videos that we have created as a staff to walk the teacher through everything. It is a field trip in a box. Everything they need is right there. We have kit packing days for those, usually in January, where we come together as a volunteer base. We enjoy snacks and music, and we pack a lot of soil and seeds together. But that program also couldn't be run without volunteers helping us get that packed up and sending those boxes all across the country. We also had seed packing stuffers. That's going on right now for our Plant Mobile program. That's another program. We get in our van and we drive to schools anywhere within 75 miles of the Arboretum. And right now we're doing our Sunflower Supreme program. And we have 7,500 kiddos signed up to do that program. And each of them get a little packet of mammoth sunflower seeds that they get to plant. So that seed packing is if people isn't your thing, that's fine too. You can pick up these materials and take them home and pack from the comfort of your own living room in your slippers if you would like, and then drop it back off to us. So we really try to offer as many types of opportunities as we can, but the biggest base is helping us interact with those kids on a daily basis. And again, to reach 28,000 kids in a school year, we would not be able to do that without the people in this room. So thank you to those who have volunteered before or are going to volunteer in the future. If you have more questions, I have some mock activities over at my table as well as our upcoming opportunities, which includes a training on Monday. If you want to jump right into our field trip programming, feel free. Got a little sign-up sheet over there. But any questions for me on youth education? All right, thanks everybody.
Sorry. Little tech. Wow. Do you have a speck of time left over for volunteering now that you've heard these amazing programs? Honestly, guys, crazy. So much fun. And things like Farm at the Arb. This is going to be the year of Farm at the Arb. I am Wendy DePaulis. I'm the curator of art and sculpture here at the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum. You might wonder why art is here today in education, but I have been in this department since I joined in 2016. And the reason for that is we have a very strong mission to educate our visitors to not only the value of the art in situ, meaning in the landscape, but also how that art can connect people more deeply with nature. And maybe how people coming out here for nature will connect more deeply with art. So that's been our mission, and I have Amy sitting in the front row, I have Barbara in the back, who have both worked tirelessly to educate our visitors in various ways, both indoors and out. So we do have opportunities year-round here at the Arboretum, and I'm going to highlight 4 of those opportunities right now. Some of those opportunities right now are listed on your, is it called Better Impact for you or My Impact? My Impact. So you can go in and sign up. Others, I have sign-ups over here at the table, and you can come talk to me about that because they're more custom types of opportunities. So what do I press? This? Nope. That? Nope. This? This? Okay. Thanks. So many of you who've been around the Arboretum for a while may know that we have 2 galleries, the Reedy Gallery and the Cafe Gallery. Those galleries rotate. I would say the Reedy Gallery rotates every 2 to 3 months, and the Cafe Gallery rotates every 1 to 2 months. They have a little bit different missions. They attract a little bit different artists for those missions. But the goal is the same. We are educating visitors to the value of original art. And I think we're doing a pretty good job at it. Our sales have skyrocketed with people buying original art since we started this program. And they're not buying it just to support the Arboretum, which it does support the Arboretum and the local artist community, but they're buying it because they have a connection with that piece of art. Whether you're spending $50 on a piece of art or $20,000 on a piece of art, you have to have that deep connection. And often it's our volunteers who are in those gallery spaces that get the people excited about it, that teach them about it, and result in appreciation and sales. I'm just going to tell a little story of sitting out on a bench one day, guy in overalls sitting next to me. He goes, "I know you." And I was like, "Yeah?" He said, "You're the one who does the art." "Yeah." "I come here every time a show changes to see it in the Reedy Gallery. It is something I look forward to." 49% of our visitors through a recent marketing survey checked that they come here for the art. Doesn't mean they don't come here for the farm and the nature and everything else, but they checked that little box of art. So it matters to people here at the Arboretum. And seriously, the only way I can do this program is with you. I am a department of 1. So everything else I do is because of the Amy's and the Barbaras in this room and beyond. So the volunteers actually hang the work. Believe it or not, artists love to just drop off their work and see what we do with it. They come back in a couple of days and they're like, "Wow, I love what you've done." So we are the ones that hang the installations. We've been patching the walls and touching up and painting, and I have my own little toolbox, and I dress for my day. I do not dress like this when I'm hammering and spackling, but I'm honored to be in this position. It's a fabulous job, and we make a difference in people's lives on both sides of this. On the artist side, we elevate local artists that go on to do amazing things nationally and internationally because of the visibility they get in a space that has 500,000 visitors a year. And we elevate the Arboretum by having this work, and our visitors are appreciative of that. Okay. Nope. Okay, this is just a view of one of, again, the installations and what a final installation looks like. Okay, volunteer opportunity number 2, meet and greet the artists. So we advertise this in a number of ways. We'll put it in magazines, we have flyers, it goes on e-news. You can see on the right-hand side, if you're gonna meet Kristen, you could come to an art walk with her. She took people to the spaces that inspired her to do her works and talked about, you sat in the space that she was looking at when she created her, we call them wood paintings, which are carvings and paint. They were incredible. So people got that really behind the scenes opportunity to get inside an artist's mind. And you can only get that by coming to something like this. Gordon Coons, our Ojibwe artist, moved people to tears when he talked. And he's an internationally known artist. He wanted to come to the Arboretum. He reached out to me. And then, most importantly, he brought 4 other artists who had never shown in a gallery space before. And we together co-created and taught these younger artists how to operate in a gallery world, how to be an artist full time. You have to know all these other things than just creating beautiful art. Amy does these a lot. She, I think, would say, you know, if you want to talk to anyone about it afterwards, has had really moving experiences because of the role that she plays as a volunteer in the meet and greets. So these are the art receptions. The receptions happen generally in McMillan with a talk, a demonstration, an interactive experience, and then we have tours out in the Reedy Gallery. And you can, if being a docent or a tour guide isn't your thing for these kind of opportunities, we also ask volunteers to be hosts, where they help people be seated and just end up listening and enjoying and facilitating sales, things like that. So there's a lot of administrative things to do. Being the docent is a little more of an experience. As you can imagine, you're the tour guide, you need a little bit of training, and that's where the custom experiences come into play. We train each group differently. We're about to have a show actually coming up in May with Adam Turman. Adam is the state fair artist. If you've seen the brightly colored work, there's a lot of social out there right now. My daughter from Madison called me and said, "You're having an Adam Turman show," because she follows Adam on social and he was posting it. Adam wants us to do tours of his work. He also wants us to make sure we're doing the tours the way he wants it done. So he'll probably be coming and training a small group of volunteers to do that. That's the kind of experience that I'll need your name, phone number for, and contact you personally about that. Cleaning the sculptures. This is such a fun team. Anybody in here ever cleaned the sculptures? Okay, we've been covered by the Star Tribune on this one. This group was professionally trained by Midwest Art Conservation, and we have a very specific process we use, very specific tools, specific kind of soap. Bowling wax, I think, is the wax that goes on top of it. But imagine, these people are out here working with the sculptures and family groups come around. It's a perfect opportunity to teach not only the importance of preservation and conservation of the works that we do, but also about the artwork itself. So this group has been with me since 2016. We've added 1 or 2 people as we go along. They're a really dedicated group that loves to be out here from May through October. And that too is something that I'll need your name and number for, and you will have specific training in order to do that. These sculptures are bestowed upon us. The permanent collection is part of what's called, is part of AAM, accredited works that are there, and we need to make sure that they are cared for in a specific way in order to preserve them in perpetuity. This is just what I'm going to end with. This is one of our sculpture cleaners, Susan, cleaning Barbara Hepworth. Barbara Hepworth, one of the most renowned artists in the history of sculpture. And we have 3 of her pieces in the garden. And this is over in St. Ives in England. It's an edition of 7. This one overlooks the ocean. And is seated high above, and it's such a thrill when you get to know these artworks here at the Arboretum, and then you see them in other places around the world, and you see how the interpretation changes a little bit, but how they're like siblings, and you just like, you know everything about it, you know the artist because you've worked with it, and then you see it in this new site, and it's like seeing it in a new way. So it's really a thrill, again, for me to be in this position. And I literally, absolutely could not do it without you. So thank you all for being here and your interest in being a volunteer. Any questions? No.